Hi again, everybody. It's Hank Zona, the Grapes Unwrapped. I'm here at Beneduce Vineyards. It's late September. It's crunch time. It's harvest time, and it's a challenging year because there's been rain. There hasn't been as much kind of late season heat, and so they're really fast and furiously out here. It's not a lot of time for idle chit chat and kind of harvesting the grapes, trying to get them in before the next rainfall. I've got a basket here of these gorgeous Blau Frankish grapes. And they've been at it now for a few weeks, and they'll keep going up until October. So we're going to spend some time here just seeing what's happening with harvest. Like I said, it's not a good time to stand around and talk idly with people. They're really cruising here to get these grapes in. And we're going to spend some time with Mike as he's pressing some of the grapes inside. If you go to every aisle on this block, there's at least one person here picking grapes. Over here is Jen. Jen's not in the tasting room today. She manages the tasting room, but it's all hands on deck this year and this time of year. So we're going to go over, just take a quick look at what she's doing. Hello, Ophelia. Ophelia's here watching over things. Hi, Jen. I don't want to cut in too much on your efficiency here.
How are you?
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
You usually see you behind the bar in the tasting room, but like I said, everyone's pitching in these days, aren't they?
Absolutely. All hands on deck for harvest.
And especially this year, right? Because with the weather, it's been kind of a race against time for a lot of the different grapes as they've been ready.
Absolutely.
So,
a little bit wet here, but you know, when you gotta get them in, the grapes will tell you when to come in.
Yeah, and they do look beautiful. They really do.
They do. They're some really beautiful colors.
So what's really obvious is that Jen's doing this all by hand. And folks, if you want to understand why wine costs what it does, well, everything here is picked by hand. Everything here is done by hand. So and the nice thing is, not only is she just picking these clusters, but if they're grapes that aren't that good, they're taking them right off right here. So you're almost doing like a field sort, if you will, right? And
absolutely. You have to sort everything, make sure they're a really nice color, that they're not too light or red, which means they're going to be a little bit sour. So you want to make sure the color is really consistent. And when in doubt, you can always taste them. If they taste good, it's going to make good wine.
And if they're not good, you're just dropping them right back into the soil, right? So
absolutely.
It's the next level of compost.
Absolutely. You want to put those nutrients back into the soil so for next year.
So this is pretty crazy. I'll ask you a question. As the tasting room manager, you guys are harvesting 7 days a week, but when the tasting room's open, people are still coming in. So it's really...
They are, and it's great for them to see the process. It gets them more integrated into the wine that they're drinking when they see them being process like right behind them in the bar, and then we get to explain what's going on because Mike has taught us every little step in between.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
It really is. I'm going to let you get back to work.
Thank you very much.
You've been out here since what time?
I got here a little after 9.
Oh, so you were kind of slacking today, aren't you?
Well, I had to take care of some things this morning.
Yeah, I was going to say. And you're sitting here, you've been here for a few hours now. It's almost lunchtime, and you guys will be here until dark probably, right?
Until we're done.
All right. Enjoy your Advil later.
Thank you very much. I
don't want to stop Jen's flow here, so let's go inside. And because you really do get a rhythm going, you can see when you work these lines, it's they're moving. They've got their method down. Let's go inside and see what Mike's doing.
Yep.
They stick a little bit, don't they? This is why your wine costs what it does when everything is done by hand, the way it ought to be done.
Artisanal.
Keeps at this constant speed pretty much, so it basically does what it's supposed to do for the couple of hours.
Pretty much. Well, this will roll like this now. We've got it. I can feel they're kind of evenly distributed around that.
So you get a sense of it.
Stop it spinning.
Gotcha.
So basically, this is a bladder press. So it's a bladder that's running down the center of the cylinder. We just loaded the grapes in here. We kind of rotate this to get the grapes evenly distributed around that bladder because we want to press a small amount of grapes. And then once we have that distributed, we start to inflate that bladder with air. So you can imagine it's kind of tight like a balloon. We're blowing up a balloon. It's inflating and it's pushing those grapes up against the side of this cage. And so as it's squeezing those, the juice is dropping down into the pan underneath us.
And it's gentle. You're not blasting these. You're not like it's not like you're putting these in a food processor.
No,
this is a real gentle press.
Very slow and gentle. So we're starting at about 2 psi. So the pressure in your car tire is maybe 35 or 40 psi.
Basketball's about 15, so this ball's not bouncing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go at 2 psi, and then we're going to deflate the bladder, rotate it again to kind of fluff up the grapes, and then we'll go up to maybe 3 psi. And again, 4 psi. We'll do that about 10 or 12 times until we get up to maybe 15 or 20 psi total, and then we'll stop. And we'll make what we call a press cut. We'll separate that out.
So this will take about 2 hours.
Take about 2 hours.
And at the end of 2 hours, we'll see what's left.
Exactly.
And it's pretty interesting. And now the really cool thing about this, and you did this by design when you built this place, was your tasting room is just a few feet over here to the left.
Absolutely.
So people come in, and this is the busy season. So people are, they're back from vacations, they're whatever they're doing with their kids in the summer. So the weekends in the summer are probably, in the fall are probably pretty busy.
It's funny because we're busiest in the production and we're busiest in the tasting room, so it hits us like from both ends.
It's a buzz. It's a real buzz of activity. So not the bees. And so people are standing here, drinking what's been produced here in the past year or two, and watching what they're going to be drinking hopefully here in the next year or two.
You let them taste the juice out of the pan, you let them taste the fermenting one from the tank and stuff, so it's fun. There's always something going on this time.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Want to taste this?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right.
So you're pulling off some
I'm going to pull a
first
little
run.
fresh juice here. So excuse the dirty glass because I'm going in it all
That's
day.
quite all right.
But you can see it's just kind of nice, cloudy juice.
So what can you tell from tasting and looking at that juice after you?
Well, we're looking at, one is how much it's oxidizing. So we don't want the juice typically to be too brown when it's in the press pan. So we'll try to keep this kind of pumping as we're going. And then basically so the press pan is empty. The other thing we're really looking for when we're pressing is the levels of acidity and the levels of tannins. So when you start like this, when we're just doing a light pressing, you have a lot of acidity.
Yep.
Because that's in the juice, kind of the heart of the grape. So you're just taking the light juice.
Yep.
And you have very little tannin because you're not really pressing the skins at that point yet.
It's in there though.
Yeah, you can feel a little bit, And as we get deeper into the press cycle, that'll shift. You'll have less acidity and more tannins. And so we need to decide when we want to kind of cut that off.
So you're tasting constantly.
Every cycle.
Here's where the science and the art comes in, right? I mean, you're measuring things. You're in the lab and measuring things. You're testing. You're checking the weather constantly. But then you're actually, a lot of your decisions are based on the actual taste itself.
Yeah. If you're having a bad taste day, like I can't drink coffee in the morning because I burn my tongue, my whole day could be shot.
Yeah.
I have to make decisions on the fly, and so you do have to use a lot of your senses throughout the process.
Yeah.
So we just finished our press cycle here.
It's like something out of science fiction.
This press is older than me. It says made in Western Germany on it.
Oh wow.
That gives you an idea.
Wow.
But this is an old Bill's presser. It's about 2,000 pounds of grapes.
And it makes it a lot easier than that hand press you were using a few
we
years
have
ago.
graduated from the basket press. Thank God. But you can see in here with the website. The pumice bin is underneath there. We're going to spin this over and drop all the pumice right down underneath.
And the pumice is what's left over, the skins, the seeds, the stems, whatever. It's not a lot because everything's hand-picked.
Exactly.
So it's just pretty clean. And then you're going to take that and that's going back in.
Actually, we're going to compost this first for about 2 years.
All right.
And then it'll bring down, and then we'll spread it back out in the field once we get into the winter.
So nothing goes to waste.
No, absolutely. mainly the stems.
Yep.
So we do what's called whole cluster pressing.
Yep.
The whole clusters of grapes, load them right into the press, and very gently pressing. But you can see how the stems are still intact.
Yeah.
They haven't been pinched or mangled at all. And so this is a really gentle extraction method, so you don't get a lot of that green flavor from the stems.
Right.
Whereas a lot of wineries, like a big production winery, they're going to de-stem first. They're going to de-stem and crush the grapes because then they can fit twice as much in the press, saving a lot of time.
Right.
But when you're doing that, you're pinching the seeds, you're pinching the stems, and then, I mean,
Which is adding some bitterness to
yeah,
the
I
wine.
mean, true. It's like
Right.
a green banana peel.
Right. So
That's gonna end up
and this is green. So yeah, right. So you're by using the whole cluster and doing it gently, you're actually extracting more flavor than
Yeah, you're
than
extracting
de-stemming.
much better quality juice
Yeah.
and just a little bit less of it. And then you can see how the skins, there's really not much juice left in the skins.
Yeah.
And there's no seeds in there. The seeds are still intact, so we haven't pinched any of those. And so now we're just going to put this on the compost pile, let it break down for the next 2 years.
It'll take 2 years to break
Yeah,
down.
pretty much. We flip the pile a couple times a year.
Okay. It's a bee farm now.
Yeah, exactly. We're not allergic.
No.
So then these guys... Go ahead.
I know it's just crunch time, and especially this year, it's a crazy year. Everything almost feels more compressed than ever. So I appreciate you taking a little bit of time out here. I know it's not the most easy time to do this, but thank you, because this is, it's good for people to see, again, what goes into that glass of wine they have, that bottle of wine they have. And so thanks for carving some time out.
Thanks for coming out,
Appreciate
man.
it. We'll see you again soon. All right? Take care. This is Hank Zona, the Grapes Unwrapped. Mike Beneduce at Beneduce Vineyards. It's crunch time, folks. It's harvest. So
Get back to work.
Get back at it. Okay. We'll catch you again next time.